Welcome to this new automotive news video for Thursday, June 18th, 2026. On the agenda today, Porsche has just unveiled its new all-electric Taycan, which will intentionally imitate internal combustion cars. Stellantis has announced pricing for the return of its low-cost lease program, some of which are surprising. Dacia is also sharing more about its upcoming spring, with some great news. And Maserati is finally updating its range of cars with another little piece of news. Future Maseratis will be equipped with technology from Chinese car brands. I hope the topics I've chosen for today's video will interest you. If that's the case, as always, I count on you to like this video, subscribe for more, boost it if the option appears after liking, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts on today's news. And just before we get into the topics on the agenda for this video, I wanted to add a little news item I came across that I found particularly amusing. Remember, a few days ago we talked about the fact that Stellantis had Land Rover as a new partner. Today we learned what this partnership will involve. And actually, Stellantis in the United States is going to produce Land Rovers. Basically, to put it simply, Land Rover is heavily penalized by American taxes on cars made in Europe. It's a brand that's too small for it to be worth investing billions to set up factories in the United States to avoid these well-known taxes. Stellantis, with some underutilized factories, offered Land Rover in exchange for an undisclosed amount, according to the automotive press, to manufacture the future Land Rover Defender in the United States. That way, Land Rover doesn't need to pay to set up factories, and it can keep selling its Defenders in the US without them being heavily taxed. Meanwhile, Stellantis can make its factories profitable, making it a win-win for everyone. The big question is, what will it be like in terms of quality? Because very clearly, Land Rover and Stellantis are still among the brands with the worst reputations when it comes to reliability. Imagine a brand considered unreliable having its cars built by a manufacturer that's also known for being unreliable. That's going to be something. Porsche has just unveiled a new evolution of its fully electric Taycan, and some of the new features are likely to spark debate. Notably because for this one, Porsche decided to copy a whole bunch of driving features that are usually only found on combustion engine cars. For example, this new Taycan will be equipped with an all-new system. It's the first time Porsche has put it on one of its production cars, the system called eShift. It's a system inspired by what Hyundai did on its Ioniq 5N. Basically, this technology allows the Taycan to simulate the operation of a combustion engine gearbox. The driver can press a button on the steering wheel that allows him to activate paddles on the sides of the wheel. These paddles let the driver shift through 8 virtual gears. Porsche took realism even further by simulating jolts that are felt with each gear shift. Basically, once the car reaches the maximum speed for the selected gear, the electric motor will be electronically limited. And when the driver shifts to the next gear, it will be unlocked, allowing acceleration to resume. It's pretty much like with a combustion engine, except here it's purely software-based. An engine braking effect similar to that of a gas-powered Porsche is also simulated, as well as a virtual rev limiter. The limiter will be used by the car to adjust the artificial sound inside and outside the car according to the simulated engine speed. It has a virtual tachometer with completely fictitious revolutions per minute, as well as a gear indicator showing the currently engaged gear on the instrument panel. This entire iShift system is offered on the entire new Taycan range, including the entry-level versions. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, but personally, I tend to think it's a shame that car manufacturers have to emulate and copy the sensations of combustion engine sports cars to give character to their electric sports cars. On one hand, it adds a whole bunch of systems that aren't necessary for the operation of the vehicle and that add weight, increase the price of the vehicle, and add another potential source of breakdown. And on the other hand, it's quite an admission of weakness from Porsche, who ultimately hasn't found any other way to convince its purest customers to switch to fully electric. As for the rest of the vehicle's technical specifications, you should know that Porsche claims, thanks to new tires called Autonomy Plus, a much better, significantly better range than the previous generation of Taycan, with a claimed range of 700 km under the WLTP cycle, including for the entry-level rear-wheel drive versions thanks to a large battery, simply named Performance Plus, which has a capacity of 105 kW. Knowing that, unfortunately, these tires increase the range, but a compromise had to be made regarding the vehicle's grip. Porsche is also using this Taycan update to enhance the car's digital interface. On the other hand, and this is quite surprising, unlike the new Macan and the new Cayenne, it does not get the Android Auto system used on the brand's latest models. The price and performance haven't been revealed yet, but you can count on me to tell you about it as soon as there is more information on the subject. Speaking of brands that are updating their sports car lineups, let's talk about Maserati now. As you know, things aren't going well at Maserati. Sales have fallen sharply in recent years. So, in an attempt to get things going again before the arrival of new models, Maserati is finally refreshing, and it was about time. Almost its entire current car lineup. The Grey Grecale, the Gran Turismo, and the Gran Cabrio will receive several updates. As for the Grey Grecale, there's an exterior facelift with sharper front bumpers, a redesigned splitter, a new steering wheel, and a new lighting signature. Knowing that under the hood, there are changes as well, since the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder gasoline version simply no longer exists. The entry-level model will now be offered with a V6 engine. It's the Nettuno V6, which will be detuned in this version to produce only 390 horsepower, while the high-end version with the same engine will offer 590 horsepower. Let me tell you, with a simple remapping, the entry-level Grey Grecale will strangely also reach 590 horsepower. For the Grande Cabrio and Grande Turismo, there are fewer new features and no major technical changes. It's more of an aesthetic update with a new steering wheel, a new design for the soft top on the Maserati Grande Cabrio, new customization options for colors and rims, and tracks widened by 1 cm. Unfortunately, there aren't any major changes for the electric versions, which all still have around 580 km of WLTP range, no matter the model, which isn't great considering these vehicles are still sold at a premium price. Where it starts to get interesting again is that Maserati is hinting that its future models will be equipped with manual gearboxes. According to the brand, it's simply something that customers are asking for. And another thing that's particularly interesting is that their customers are also asking for the return of the V8. And Maserati, unlike what they said a few months ago, is no longer closing the door on that. Until now, we thought that Maserati had definitely turned the page on the V8, but they explained that they still have the knowledge and expertise to produce a new V8 engine, and that they're keeping this option in reserve if there's enough demand. Another piece of information about Maserati is that the brand has confirmed it is in serious discussions with 2 companies for partnerships regarding technologies that concern both its future gas-powered cars and its future electric cars. So, in your opinion, which are the 2 brands Maserati is working with? Let me know in the comments. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see Maserati getting closer to a Chinese brand, like BYD, for example, to acquire its technology, catch up on electric vehicles, and finally offer electric cars worthy of the name, at least worthy of their price. And on the other hand, I also wouldn't be that surprised to see them getting closer to Ferrari again, to get the famous Ferrari V8 to put it back under the hood of their future combustion and special models. Still at Stellantis, you should know that the group has just announced its prices for social leasing. To compete with the new Twingo and the new Renault 5 Electric, here's what Stellantis is announcing. On the Peugeot and Opel side, you'll find the classic Peugeot 208 and electric Corsa, which share the same batteries. That is 50 kilowatt-hour batteries, a 136 horsepower motor, fully electric, with a range of around 360 kilometers. The Corsa will be offered starting at €139 per month, and the 208 will start at €149. On the Fiat side, the Grande d'Espagna will start at €95 per month. For that price, it will come with a 44 kilowatt-hour LFP battery, giving it a WLTP range of 320 kilometers as well as fast charging set at 100 kilowatts. Keep in mind that when it comes to trim and options, you shouldn't expect too much because we're talking about an extremely basic car. No touchscreen, no electric mirrors. Just below that, we have the Citroën C3 Electric, which offers the lowest lease in the entire Stellantis group at €94 per month. Keep in mind that at this price, you're probably signing up for the biggest lemon in the current car market. Because to get this price, you have to accept having a 30 kilowatt-hour battery with a claimed range of only 205 km WLTP and fast charging limited to 30 kilowatts as an option. All that for just €1 less per month than the Big D Dependa, which still seems overall more appealing. The Jeep Avenger with the 156 horsepower version and 406 kilometer range will start at €169 per month. And finally, probably the most surprising offer in the Stellantis catalog, the Opel Frontera, which will be offered starting at €99 per month, €5 more per month than the Citroën C3 for a much larger vehicle with better, though not outstanding range at 308 kilometers ETP, and especially much more interior space, which could make it a more attractive alternative for families. And speaking of cheap, small electric cars, let's quickly talk about Dacia. Dacia gave a little preview of its future Spring, which, as a reminder, will be based on the same mechanics and technology as the Renault Twingo Electric, except that Dacia wants to sell it even cheaper. We're talking about a target price of €17,000 before the ecological bonus. And there's some good news. This new Spring will no longer be manufactured in China. This should allow it to qualify for the famous ecological bonus, something the previous Spring was eligible for, which helped it become a big hit, especially in the French market. But eventually, the rules changed along the way, and from the moment it no longer had the bonus, it stopped selling. The full future Spring presentation is expected in the next few months, likely before summer ends or autumn begins. That's when we'll know what Dacia is really capable of, and we'll find out what range the next Spring will have, what charging speed it will offer, and to what extent. So, will it be versatile or not, interesting or not, compared to the current Twingo? In any case, we've covered all the news for today. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, Cash is counting on you, as usual, to show it by leaving a like, subscribing for the next videos, and supporting us via the join button below this video. We'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Ciao!